Mic check. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. I have Blackbook session number 7 here with me. This is a burner I laid down for that boy Kane. Like always, I'll be breaking down the process for y'all, so let's get to it. I kicked off the K with the light turquoise Sharpie. I just wanted to get a flow going, so I laid down a whip and started adding from there. I was able to get a good rhythm going with the K. I incorporated some whips throughout the physique of the letter, giving it some style. I then added an arrow on the left side of it. I was trying to add a couple more details on the letter rather than just whips. I moved on to the A after that. I kept the A leveled with the K. The rest of the letters were leveled too. I had some extensions of the A wrapping around a connecting bar of the K. I kind of wanted to squeeze in the letters because I wasn't trying to run out of room on the page. I wanted everything to fit. The A was pretty basic though, just its simple structure with a bit more rhythm. The I though was cool. I gave it some rhythm and was able to add some whips. What I like about the letter I is how you can always substitute the little glyph that goes on top with something else, whether it be an arrow, a star, or in this case, the tip of a spray can. The final letter was the N, and I kept its original structure and added a little twist to it. I was able to add whips on it, small and large. I wanted the N to be similar to the K, and it kind of worked out. I was able to incorporate a big whip towards the bottom, a smaller whip towards the top, and of course an arrow going in the opposite direction of the first one. I was digging the sketch and flow of this burner, so I wrapped it up and started filling in. Using the same light turquoise I used to sketch, I started playing with the filling and covered up some whips to get a flow going. I brought in a yellow Prismacolor and hit the unfilled letters with the Splat technique. I brought in an orange Prismacolor and did the same thing. Whatever hadn't been filled in by the Splat techniques, I filled in using the light turquoise. I knew I wanted this color filling in the rest of my letters. I didn't fully want the light turquoise to cover up the yellow and orange, so when I would get near them, I would fade off into them using zigzags. For my outline, I wanted a dark, bold color. I didn't want to use black, so I chose brown. I was glad I went with this color. I was already digging the color scheme. I solely traced around the letters, never tracing over anything inside of the letters. I leave the details for a fine point marker, but we'll get into that in a bit. I was really careful with this step. I wanted the outline to come out real crisp. I added an extra whip on the end just to give it more of the K energy, and I subtly repositioned the spray can tip on the I. It was a little too much to the left at first. To get the details inside of the letters legible, I used a fine point brown Sharpie. I used them where certain parts of the letters collided. You can have fun with these. You develop a bit of your style by just having fun with implementing where you see the vision on your letters. Making certain details in the area really sharp is important just so you can get that crisp look. You can see that I really had to implement them carefully on the areas where the K and the A intertwined. I also had to be really careful with the I and N because there were certain areas that needed full attention and understanding in order to get away with it real clean and precise. I moved on to my 3D and had the vantage point going down towards the bottom center of the page. I used the same brown Sharpie I used for the outline. I wanted the 3D to make the letters seem as if they were popping out at you, so I went around the physique of each letter and brought a line down going towards the vantage point. The lines that went towards the vantage point were only around ½ an inch long, and like always I traced with the flow of the letters just to close up the 3D and give it its full effect. Once everything was traced and closed up, I started filling in the 3D and leaving these rectangular details inside. This specific detail that goes inside of the 3D is a bit of a classic one. It's definitely used worldwide. I'll be having a video out soon on details you can add inside of your 3D. Of course, I had to come in with the bubbles. I used an orange Sharpie to execute this background detail. The color scheme was really dope already, and I'm not even gonna front, it started to remind me of the Scooby-Doo mobile. I made sure to add the bubbles a certain way in order to keep the letters centered though. That meant not completely going around the letters with the bubbles. Instead, I kept the bubbles to a minimum. I also added a couple drips down at the bottom of the bubbles, cause why not? I came back into the rectangular details inside of the 3D and decided to color them light brown to go with the outline in a way. I used a fine point big for this. and not for any specific reason. It's just the only marker I had in that specific color. I was rocking with those two tones though. Ooh wee, my favorite part. Not the outline itself, but the marker I get to bring out and have some fun with. A white fine point Molotov paint marker. That's what I use to outline the physique of the burner letters. This color really made the letters pop out and be like I'm here for a quick second, so lend me your ear. I'm only here to get the hazy vision of your letters crystal clear. So peep game and never let anything you've been taught go to shame. Us writers up next, we just can't be tamed. So like, comment, subscribe, and rep your name since you made it this far. Back to the outline though. I also outlined a bit of the air pockets in the K, A, and N, and didn't fully cover that white. I came in with the brick wall behind the bubbles with an electro blue Sharpie. I built somewhat of a brick wall, I would say, to cover up some negative space on the page and to have an extra background detail. With this brick wall, I usually always add little bricks just floating in the air on top and below it, and that's exactly what I did here. I got to play with the white Molotov again and added shine to my letters. I added the shines in the top of my letters since my 3D was going down towards the bottom of the page. So I flowed along the top area of each letter and added this subtle detail. With the same orange Sharpie I used for the bubbles, I added some splat effects and zigzags around the corners of the page, mainly to take up negative space. I kinda regretted this though, so I added my tags, right? And what I didn't take into consideration was the zigzags I added right before. They were kinda gonna mess with how bold the tag was. I really wasn't rocking with this. I tried to give the tags a 3D effect so they could really pop out more, but I still wasn't rocking with it. So what I did was use the white Molotov to get rid of the splats and zigzags inside of the 3D of the tags. This actually helped me out real quick to save this burner, or else I wouldn't even have been satisfied with this Blackbook session. I'm not even gonna front. Luckily that wasn't the case, and I was able to have this finished product for Hurricane Kane and for y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed the video and learned a thing or two. If anybody wants their name done and featured on the channel, just drop it in the comment section.